Oh, hello, everybody. What's up? Good evening, Twitch friends. Adam Azer and Ben Tracker here. Jamey Eisenberg will be joining us shortly. Last time we spoke to you, Devonte Freeman was only rumored to be a Giant. Now we know it's going to happen when he passes his physical. And we'll talk a lot about that and who to get on the waiver wire. Tuesday night, you got to make some claims. You got to pick up some players. Who's the prize now? Is it Devonte Freeman, or is it still Mike Davis, or is it Darrell Henderson, or someone else? Maybe skip the running back position. We'll let you know. Send us your questions, your comments. Going to be reading them all night. What's going on, Shraggy B?
What's up? I have no idea what to do with the waiver wire today, other than Mike Davis being the top guy. I'm excited to see what Devonte Freeman can do, but he's not even signed yet, so I can't go all in on Devonte Freeman.
No, he's not signed yet, and it really wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't play this week, or if he does play, it's a very, very limited role. You cannot imagine him coming in, signing on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. He has to go through all the COVID protocols too, so you don't know when he'll actually be able to start practicing with the Giants, playing on a Sunday. I don't know. It's really more of a long-term play. You're not going to feel comfortable starting Devonte Freeman, so there is
a tough matchup too.
Maybe it's probably a tough matchup. I don't know. They're so depleted. The 49ers are at their weakest right now. I mean, some of their absolute best players, hopefully Kittle comes back, but it's not an easy matchup for Freeman. So, yeah, I mean, I do think if you're looking at the Giants situation, I put in a lot of bids today. I went pretty heavy on Mike Davis, like around 30, depending on how badly I needed him, 28-ish to like 40.
I was up to 35, yeah.
Yeah. So I went big on that. And then for Freeman, I started out at like 12. I pushed it up to like 18 or 20%. And Gallman, I'm going to go like 8 to 10%. I have really no interest in Dion Lewis. And I could be wrong, Ben, but the way I see it happening in that backfield is Gallman is the like first and second down guy. Lewis gets some carries, but he's mostly a third down guy. And Gallman is basically going to have a 1-week audition to try to be in the mix. I'm not going to say win the job, because if they're bringing in Freeman, Freeman's going to have a role. But Gallman is like the sneakier play. He's definitely, maybe half of what you put in for Freeman in terms of FAB. But Gallman, there's some appeal to Gallman. I wouldn't completely write him off. Like, how do you see it going?
The only place I differ from you is I think it goes the same way. I don't think Gallman gets a lot of touches in that first and second down role. I think the Giants are going to be down. I know you think the Giants do have a chance to win. I think Dion Lewis is heavily used.
I don't think they're going to get blown out. Even if you're down, even if they're trailing, I mean, I still think you're talking about 12 or more carries.
I think he gets around 10. He could do something with the 10, but I think beyond this week, Gallman is pretty irrelevant. I think Dion Lewis could still have a little bit of a role. We don't know how good Devonte Freeman is. We know Lewis can be an efficient pass catcher. I don't really know much about Gallman. He had a good substitute start last year, but that's about it.
All right, let's see what the people have to say. And I want look at this Twitter poll. I'm going to see if maybe we can do something. I'm going to send it over to Mizowski.
The Heath Twitter poll?
Yeah, the Heath Twitter poll.
It's unbelievable.
Right. Let's see. I don't know if we can link to it or whatever, but Heath says, let's say you don't need a starter for week 3. Who would you rather add in PPR? Darrell Henderson, Mike Davis, Devonte Freeman, or Jerick McKinnon? Darrell Henderson, Mike Davis, Devonte Freeman, or Jerick McKinnon? The poll has actually gotten like a little bit less tight, but Darrell Henderson has 21.7% of the vote. Devonte Freeman, 24.3%. Mike Davis, 26.7%. Jerick McKinnon, 27.3%. To me, that's the worst answer here, because if you don't have a starter for week 3, then McKinnon to me is the last guy I'm getting. He's the one you're getting if you need a starter for week 3, because I don't think Mostert's going to play. But I don't know. I voted for Darrell Henderson, who, of course, is in last place. How about you, Ben?
I voted for Devonte Freeman. I think he does have a chance to be an RB2 for the entire season. I don't think it's a lock. I think Mike Davis will be better for the next 4 weeks, but there's a chance Devonte Freeman is a usable, startable running back for the rest of the year. I don't see that in any of the other guys.
All right, let's read some questions here. This is from Islay Single Malt. I have Christian McCaffrey and Cam Akers. I have $190 of FAB left. what's a slightly too much amount to get Darrell Henderson? So he has McCaffrey and Akers. He wants Henderson. $190 of fab left. How much are you putting out?
Slightly too much to make sure you get him is probably around 50 to 55.
Yeah, so I was going to say 50 to 60. 50 to 60. Juan D. Zaddy, or Juan Zaddy, I don't know. Adam, you almost always answer my emails. I thank you for it. Blue heart emoji. Yeah, heart emoji at you too, my man.
If you leave an Apple Podcast 5-star review, I'll make sure your question gets answered.
Yeah. Oh, I just saw on the delay. I just saw the heart that I did, and it was terrible. I don't really know how to. I think that's better. I don't know, man. Yeah, Shagger's better than I am at that. Is Minchu better than Dak Prescott this week? No.
No. I love Minchu, but no.
No. Dak's gonna have another shootout. Should be great once again. From XZ Deadpool. Pocket Aces. Should I trade Melvin Gordon and Deontay Johnson, who are both on my bench, for Christian McCaffrey? Melvin Gordon and Deontay Johnson for Christian.
Yes.
Yeah.
On your bench? Yes.
I don't know how Melvin Gordon's on your bench. Good for you. Like you lost Christian. Oh, no, you're not. You didn't lose Christian McCaffrey. You're trading for him. Yeah. It's a good one. Michael Pittman or Zack Pascal? I actually think I'd go Pascal there.
It's a coin flip. I think maybe Pittman has more touchdown upside, so you go Pittman, but coin flip for me. I don't like either. Yeah,
not a huge fan either. Where's Jamey at? Jamey's coming. We'll bust his butt when he gets here. From MLaw 51, has Swaggy B seen Goonies? I think I know the answer. There's no way he's seen.
You knew the answer when you asked the question, whoever asked that.
I don't think you'd like it. I think it's a
TV show or movie?
It's a movie. Have you seen Stranger Things?
I've seen it. I didn't like it.
Oh, then you're definitely not going to like Goonies.
Okay, then no.
Clean Stat 70. Should I drop Laviska Shenault for N'Keal Harry? And how about Carson Wentz for Gardner Minshew?
Yes to both.
From Andrea Buffalo. What's up? Would you trade AJ Green and Will Fuller to get a better wide receiver or running back?
AJ Green. This is a really tough time to trade both of those guys. But the short answer is yes. I would love to combine the two. I don't think there's much I don't think AJ Green has much left in the tank.
I don't know. I'm not opposed to trading them, but you have to get like someone better than, say, Melvin Gordon. I'd do it for Chris Carson.
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure.
I would not do it for Kareem Hunt, for example. I would probably want to sell high on Kareem Hunt, which we'll talk about tomorrow.
Would you do it for Connor? I would do it for Connor.
The only thing that holds me back is health. But yes, considering that he hurt his ankle, came back and got basically the full snap share, like the full workload, sure. Yeah, I would. From Mild Salsa 07, I've lost Saquon, Sutton, and Mostert, and I'm 0-2. I have to play more aggressively and ensure I get help and go like 50 to 60% of my fab, right?
On Davis?
I don't know. Yes, I think you need to win.
Yes.
You need to win. And I'm going to tell you that I put in like a $6 bid on the Colts DST in one league. Because I am
win this week
league, and I want to win. I need to win, and I think they're going to help me. So yes, if you're 0-2, don't let other people criticize you for spending too much fab. Go out and get the win, because 0-3 is really hard to come back from.
And without a running back still when you're 0-3. So get your guy.
But that's got to be for Mike Davis, I think, because you don't know what the Giants guys are going to give you this week and who it's going to be. You can't confidently right now say it's Jerick McKinnon because Mostert might play.
And Jeff Wilson will have a role.
Probably, yeah. 2 quarterback league. How much fab would you spend on Justin Herbert if you're really weak at quarterback?
He's probably the best quarterback available. It's probably the only potential starter available. I would say 20%.
Yeah, you might want to go a little bit more, but I believe Anthony Lynn when he says it. I don't know if he's making the right decision, but he says that Tyrod's their guy and Tyrod's their starter when he's healthy, and Tyrod might play this week. So it's a stash. It's a stash for Herbert. I think Driscoll might actually be okay. He runs a little bit. He was all right last year. He had better weapons last year. I think Mullins might be okay.
I like Mullins. Yeah.
Yeah, might be all right. From Tony Mudd, should I trade Kenyon Drake for James Robinson and Hollywood Brown? Half PPR. My Drake for Robinson and Brown.
I love Robinson, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Chris Towers is in the chat room.
What's up, Chris?
Kenyon is last. I don't think anyone realizes how little he's actually played so far. I do think that there's room for him to play more, obviously, if the two starting running backs are out. But yeah, I mean, Jamey kind of brought it up on today's show that they might not really use McKinnon in that kind of role, that you might be surprised. It might be Jeff Wilson in there or somebody else.
Wilson played 5 out of 6 snaps after Tevin was gone. Small sample size. The snap he didn't play was a passing down. So who knows? Wilson will probably score 1 or 2 touchdowns this week.
From Heisenberg, would you guys burn a number 2 waiver on AJ Green? I have Ridley, Edelman, and Cup. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Do that. And he says, not sure what to think of AJ Green. All right, so AJ Green right now realistically could have 3 touchdowns this year. You know, he got called for the pass interference. It was a good call. I think it was a good call. Burrow completely missed him on a deep ball, wide open in week 1. And then he dropped a touchdown in week 2. I'm just going to go ahead and look at the stats for the Bengals right now, because I bet he's just crushing in targets right now.
He is. The targets are unbelievable.
Yeah, so let's find out. All right, everybody, play the Jeopardy music if you'd like. He has 22 targets. Tyler Boyd has 13 in second place. So look, I don't know if he's going to be great. I don't know if he's going to stay healthy, but I think if somebody's on, put him on waivers, I think that shows you there are a lot of leagues where AJ Green's pretty cheap right now. All right, Tony Mudd. Oh, we already answered this. No, do not trade Kenyon Drake. Readier 1. Grade the trade. Give Stephon Diggs, get Miles Sanders. A+++++. Nice work. Hurt Boa. Would you take a chance on Josh Kelly this week in a standard scoring league, or would you start Gibson or Gallop? So Kelly's got the Carolina Panthers. Gibson has the Browns without Brandon Scherf. A little nervous about that. Michael Gallup is at Seattle.
I'm starting Gibson. Oh, what's up, Jamey?
What's up, guys?
Gibson. He's my least favorite. I bet Jamey's going to agree with me.
Let's see.
All right, Jamey, standard scoring, rank these 3. Antonio Gibson at Cleveland, Michael Gallup at Seattle, Josh Kelly against Carolina.
Josh Kelly might be the start of the week, so Kelly's the easy choice. Not even close.
And then who's second? No, it's
Gallop.
close. It's got to be close with Gallop.
It's not close.
Dude, Josh Kelly just had a really bad game. You're not
against a really good defense. Now he's facing a really bad defense.
Against a really good defense. Austin Eckler ran well against them. David Johnson ran well against them.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind. All right. Ben, have you ever watched Aladdin?
Yes. Yeah. I've seen some Disney movies.
Dude, what is this? Mexidorian1 says, Adam, you're ugly. What is that all about?
Do they think I'm Adam? Does Jamey have the namers on wrong?
Jamey and I were actually named in like a few years ago, like 2 of the top 10 hottest fantasy football analysts. It was really weird. But Lamont says Adam is a model. Thank you, Lamont. I like you much better than I like Mexidorian. What's up, Jamey? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Don't see Jamey without product in the hair too often, so.
I was wearing a hat. I had a T-ball game.
Okay, did you win?
We did. First game of the season.
How far did you hit the ball?
I hit the ball not at all. Just coaching.
All right.
Getting the little ones ready to go.
Psycha B Toot. I don't know how to say that. Mike Evans for DJ Chark and David Montgomery. Rate that trade.
D.
I'll give it a C. If you need a running back, it's fine by me.
Would you drop Carson Wentz for Minchu or Tannehill from IF 253? Yeah, pick one.
Minchu.
Minchu.
All right, Sauce 341. I have Bell and Barkley. Who should I go after this week?
So Jamey, give your top running backs.
Trade or free agency?
Well, free agency, right? So now we know Devonte Freeman, hasn't officially signed, but probably going to be on the Giants. So who do you like this week now? Like, what's your priority?
Nothing has changed since earlier today. It's still Mike Davis 1. It's Darrell Henderson 2. It is Jerick McKinnon 3. It is Myles Gaskin 4, and it is Devonte Freeman 5.
Okay. It's so weird. Gaskin is rostered in every single league I'm in. Every one. And he's rostered only like 20% of leagues. But yeah, don't forget about him. Do you think Freeman will play this week?
I don't. I think we're going to see a scenario of, looking ahead to week number 4 for him. Yeah. But you never know. I mean, Leonard Fournette played his first week. Adrian Peterson played his first week. There's track records of guys coming in and playing right off the street. But at least in the scenario of those two guys, they were with teams previously. Freeman hasn't been with the team since the end of last year.
Yeah, so you're lower on him, I think, than most people are going to be. I think people feel like he could just be sort of like an okay RB2 flex.
He might. He might. I just don't think it's going to be his job and his job only. I think Dion Lewis is going to have a role, most likely on passing downs. And, we may see Wayne Gallman. And look, if he doesn't play this week and Wayne Gallman goes out and lights up the scoreboard, right, then it's going to be really frustrating. So I just don't think, he has the clearest path to long-term playing time, because Davis is going to eventually lose his job to Christian McCaffrey. Who knows if he's good. Darrell Henderson is still going to be part of a 3-headed backfield. At least that's the expectation. Gaskin is still part of a 3-headed backfield. And there's just, some scenarios at play here that could help Devonte Freeman in a big way, but I just don't feel like it's going to be very good. This is not a great team. This is a team that's, Saquon Barkley would make them look better because he's an elite talent. I don't think that Devonte Freeman at 28 coming off the street is an elite talent.
Yeah. Darrell Henderson looked incredible. He was so good. At least the highlights I saw. I mean, I didn't see every carry, but he was just terrific for the Rams against the Eagles in week 2. Do you think any of those guys, because this time last week we were saying Cam Akers is eventually going to be the guy. Do you think any of those guys becomes the guy at some point this year?
Jordan Rodriguez, who I trust, covers the Rams for The Athletic, and she was on Fantasy Football Today, the video show in training camp, and she said, and she has reported this, that the Rams hoped to have Cam Akers by the middle of the season being the guy. The idea was Brown and Henderson sort of working together early and Akers getting worked up. I think that the Henderson injury fast-tracked Akers a little bit, and as you saw, 14 carries in week 1. But he may not just be ready, to be that guy yet. And Henderson, Heath said it, I think, pretty eloquently on FFT on Tuesday. He said Henderson has the advantage of being the hybrid of these two guys from the standpoint of he's already got a year of experience. So while Brown is the veteran, Henderson also has played in the system before. And he has the skill set of Cam Akers. I mean, what he averaged in college, 8 yards per carry. He was an explosive player at Memphis. And so the hope was...
Sorry, Jamey. Do you think... I'm going to make you answer it. Do you think any of them are ever become the guy?
Yes, I think one guy will emerge by the end of the season as a 15-touch guy. As a 20-plus touch guy, no.
Okay. All right, let's read some questions here. From Hunting for Wins. Can Mo Alley Cox be the next Antonio Gates for Phillip Rivers?
I doubt it, but it's certainly worth speculating on. Jack Doyle is not going away. He's just hurt. And so if Jack Doyle comes back, I'm going to guess he has that job back. But, this is just another scenario of a guy stepping up. Remember, they lost Paris Campbell. So, it could see more 2 tight end sets. We could see them changing some things around. I don't know if it's Zack Pascal and Michael Pittman get elevated because Campbell's out. But Mo Alley Cox at this point is worth speculating on simply for the matchup this week against the Jets alone if you just need a tight end.
This is from Box Press. Is Chris Carson for Christian McCaffrey a fair offer?
I would think if I'm the Christian McCaffrey owner, I would love to have Chris Carson for the next month. So yes, if you can afford to part with Chris Carson, remember, we talk about 12-team leagues most of the time. 10-team leagues, you have probably some good options on the bench to replace Christian McCaffrey. Or in the case of not having Christian McCaffrey, you may not have gotten snake bitten by some of these injuries. So you could have some guys that you could be willing to part with, Chris Carson being one of them. So let's just say you have Chris Carson, Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, some combination like that, maybe even with somebody better along with those guys. So you can move on from Chris Carson and sit on Christian McCaffrey until he's healthy. And then you have the best running back in football, hopefully by the fantasy playoffs. Think about Saquon Barkley last year, how he was those final 3 games.
The Mr. Lance one. I spent all my fab week 1 on Nyheim Hines. Give me some guys to target once waivers clear.
I would look at the second and third string guys in some of these teams. People may pass on Dion Lewis now, and he may have a role in week 3.
Bonafon's a good one.
Bonifon is a very good one. Jeff Wilson and JaMychal Hasty. Jeff Wilson being the first one of those San Francisco backup guys, because we don't know what they're going to do without Tevin Coleman there, let alone Raheem Mostert for this week. I would take a flyer on Rex Burkhead if he's available because of James White's personal situation. If he's not back for week 3, he was the passing downs guy. Dave had a good suggestion about, if you're looking ahead, Damian Harris, who may be sitting out there and nobody's going to look for because of his, still being stuck on IR for at least, another week. So there are some guys that you can look at and hopefully, pick up. They're not going to be elite level guys clearly because they're going to have to pass through waivers, but Chris Thompson may get unnoticed. I think as we see the Jaguars getting some more up-tempo games like we saw against the Titans, he had 3 catches. That's another guy that can be useful, especially PPR. So there are some guys out there.
All right. From Lamont87, I think we should buy low on T.Y. Hilton and Michael Gallop. You agree?
Yeah, and you could get them cheap. Hilton more so than Gallop. I think the thing with Gallop that we saw, and we're going to see this with several teams. Think about the Falcons and how many weapons that they have now. 4 guys, essentially, right? The 3 receivers and the tight end. Cowboys are the same, and it's kind of what we thought going in. And then they lost Blake Jarwin. Well, Dalton Schultz stepped up and played well. All 4 guys are not going to play well on a week-to-week basis. It's just not going to happen. But you may get 2 or 3. And as we saw with each of those 2 teams, for the last 2 games, 3 guys have been exceptional in their lineups. So can you get Michael Gallup coming off a buy low situation cheaper than you would have 2 weeks ago when he, should have had that 47-yard reception? Absolutely. Can you get T.Y. Hilton, who needs to put a little extra stickum on his gloves, cheap right now? Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think in general, how cheap are we talking here? Because I those are 2 players that I'm just really wish I didn't have in my fantasy teams. I think Gallup is due for a good game, and it could come this week in what should be another high-scoring game. But maybe T.Y. Hilton's just not that good anymore. I know he had a touchdown. He should have had a touchdown last week.
Jamie, would you give Fournette for either one?
No, I don't. I think that's, you're giving up too much. But I would turn Ronald Jones into one of those guys if I needed a receiver for a guy that needs a running back.
Good luck.
Well, imagine you just lost McCaffrey.
Yeah, I don't think you should trade
Barkley.
Ronald Jones.
But who is starting? Like T.Y. Hilton and Michael Gallup aren't starters for a lot of people.
I would trade. I think they were drafted to be starters.
Not Gallup.
Absolutely. He was probably going right around the same time as T.Y. Hilton.
His ADP was around round 6 or round 7. You're talking about a number 3 receiver with the guys that are going ahead of him.
If you play in a 3 receiver league, he's a starter.
I mean, you play a 3 receiver league, a lot of guys are starters. So, but at this point, like I'm trying to think of a guy that you may have picked up. A Russell Gage. You're probably starting Russell Gage over one of those 2 guys, if not both.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. And I would give up Devin Singletary for one of them. Right? Would you?
Yeah, but I'm thinking if I'm approaching those fantasy managers that have T.Y. Hilton, have Michael Gallup, they probably need some running back help if you're trying to trade them.
That's what I said. Devin
I would rather have Devin Singletary, though.
Than Michael Gallup or T.Y. Hilton?
Yes.
I just is Devin Singletary going to score? Because he just doesn't play in the red zone. It's so annoying. They're doing exactly what they did last year with him. Which Bills running back, by the way, do you prefer rest of season?
Zach Moss. That's the way I was drafting it. So
Singletary for me, it's the way I was drafting it. I honestly think it's a 50-50, and whichever guy you liked more at the beginning of the season, I haven't seen much either way.
I think what we've seen with a couple of rookies now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was easy. He was getting the job right out of the gate. Jonathan Taylor, things broke his way because of the injury. But the thing I said coming off of week 1, in certain situations, you got to have a little patience because it's their first NFL action. So what did we see from Antonio Gibson, right? Not a huge workload. He was outtouched by Peyton Barber, but he played more. And then what happened week 2? He wasn't great, but he was the guy, especially when they were chasing points. What did we see from I just had the name in my head and I'm blanking. Oh, DeAndre Swift. Chasing points. He's played the most of the Lions running backs each of the last 2 weeks. Now he hasn't had more carries than Adrian Peterson or Kerryon Johnson, but he's playing more. There is bigger things ahead for those guys. And so I think for Zach Moss, he's getting his feet wet on a team that is playing absolutely fantastic, but they're playing easy matchups. It's the Josh Allen show right now. We'll see if they're going to continue to lean on these guys in the same scenario, 50-50 split, or does one guy start to take a little bit of a lead? If you think one guy is going to take a lead, for me, I'm going to lean on the guy that's the younger, inexperienced one that has a chance to grow as opposed to the guy that they know and they may not be thrilled with.
All right, fair enough.
Adam, Devonte Freeman just signed for $3 million. Probably doesn't change our conversation at all, but he did sign officially.
A lot of money. That's a lot of money. $3 million.
He has options now. I mean, he's got his former team that could use a running back, or former coach that could use a running back in Kyle Shanahan. San Francisco, I'm sure, may have made a phone call. You know, the Eagles were looking at him. Obviously, the Giants were looking at him. Maybe the Panthers made a phone call also. He had options.
Maybe. All right. So all right, here we go. We'll go rapid fire here and kind of catch up. From John, traded Tyrod Taylor for Hunter Henry. Or no, it said traded Taylor for Henry. So
Jonathan.
That must be Jonathan
for Derrick.
Yes. Oh, and can you please use last names and first names? Traded Taylor for Henry and Terry. What are these, like your buddies at the bar? All right, you gave up Jonathan Taylor for Derrick Henry and Terry McLaurin. How'd you do?
You won.
Trade.
Yeah, it's a win.
Gambino Capo, pick 3 in PPR. Chris Godwin, Beckham, Edelman, Robert Woods.
Man, Godwin for sure. I may say Beckham.
All
yeah.
right.
And Woods would be the third.
From Juan, should I drop Alexander Madison or Ronald Jones for Josh Kelly?
Rojo
makes more sense, but it just depends on what you're looking at for the value of your team, because you could play Rojo now, you can't play Madison. But if you want the lottery ticket appeal, I don't know if it's in the lottery ticket appeal because that team is so bad right now, but I'd probably rather have Madison at this point than Ronald Jones.
From Grand Prix Black, should I drop J.K. Dobbins for a waiver wire running back?
Again, if you need somebody for more production, then you can do that, but you may regret that in a week, 2 weeks, however long it's going to take before he gets a bigger role. And as we know, this offense is going to be special. So if you're not playing Mike Davis or Darrell Henderson or Devonte Freeman or any of these guys, then no. But if you're stuck, then it makes more sense to have one of those guys, at least for right now, than J.K. Dobbins. I'd prefer to trade J.K. Dobbins, maybe do a 2-for-1 to open up a roster spot for yourself, and then you get the opportunity to pick somebody up.
All right, Deadpool wants to know if you're tempted at all to start James Robinson over Todd Gurley this week.
Not tempted. Will do.
I'm in the same boat.
I think you're looking at he's legit. Great matchup. Both guys right now aren't involved in the passing game, but Robinson's on the field more. At least that's the way it feels like. I haven't checked the snap counts for each guy, but this Jacksonville offense is
on the
fun.
field more.
They're moving the ball. They're doing a great job. He looks awesome. I'm not going to tell you who said this, but somebody said that people in Jacksonville are comparing James Robinson's running style, not as a player, but running style, to Emmitt Smith. And so he's legit. He's legit. I have one league where I was too stubborn to drop Kerryon Johnson for James Robinson going into week 1. Like a moron. A moron.
It happens.
And you were on Robinson too. It wasn't like he was just like a
This was before
running back.
Ozigbo went on IR, so I was a little bit. I thought, everything that I was hearing, and I was tweeting this, I was telling people this, that Robinson is going to be the guy, but not the only guy. That's not what we were hearing. And then right before the start of the season, we found out that Reichwell Armstead may not play. So now you've seen the results. Like he's fantastic. I have a lot of shares of James Robinson, but this one league where I should have picked him up, I'm playing J.K. Dobbins as a second running back. That's how bad my second running back is.
Yeah. Well, here, if you have James Robinson, I'm just going to say, look, it's only 2 weeks and things are going to change. But for what it's worth, here's where his next 6 or 7 opponents rank against running backs so far. 14th, 31st, 28th, 30th, 2nd, 28th, and 23rd. Schedule right now, based on what we've seen through 2 weeks, schedule is very good. Got some questions from YouTube from 5D2. Who should I drop Chris Herndon for? Tight end. He's a tight end. Who should I drop Chris Herndon for?
Well, I mean, if you're looking,
if he's out there, right?
Gesicki would be the easy one. If you're looking long-term, Dalton Schultz is going to be Blake Jarwin, at least based on one game. So he has so much upside because of the role that he's playing. And, and this is I was starting to explain this about Michael Gallop, that without Tyron Smith, you're not seeing Dak Prescott throw down the field. He's looking underneath. He's looking for these short area targets. And you saw it in that game. It was CeeDee Lamb, it was Amari Cooper, and it was Schultz who led them in targets in that comeback effort against the Falcons. So I love the setup for him moving forward. And then if it's just a 1 week thing, you have Jordan Reed and Mo Alley Cox, who are in great spots. Better matchup for Alley Cox than it is for Jordan Reed, but Jordan Reed's playing the George Kittle role, and it was fantastic even with the quarterback situation being a mess against the Jets. So If it's just a 1 week thing, then that's where I would look. If you're looking long term, obviously Gesicki, but then I'd also look at Dalton Schultz.
All right, from Johnny B. I traded for Julian Edelman right before week 2. Who should I try to flip him for, or should I keep Julian Edelman?
Well, I mean, I don't know how many people are going to be, going over the top to get Julian Edelman, because we're looking more at the running back injuries, and that's what people are sort of having to manage as opposed to the wide receiver injuries, especially when you're getting Godwin and Galladay back. Michael Thomas hopefully will be back soon. But if you can turn Edelman into some sort of running back capital at this point, like, you mentioned David Montgomery, Ben, if somebody's is got good running back depth and they're hurting at receiver, and you want to make that move that people are thinking Cam and Edelman are going to be this every week, I target a guy like that, maybe Fournette, before he really blows up. If you want to try to get in on one of these younger backs that have the chance to get better as the season goes on, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins, I do some sort of package, maybe Edelman for one of those guys and a lesser receiver. That's the type of move I think you're looking to make. And then if you can maybe get somebody who is banged up, you're not going to get Edelman for McCaffrey, but you might be able to get Edelman for Raheem Mostert. If the Raheem Mostert owner is struggling a little bit with injuries.
Master Chief's Dab, should I trade Kareem Hunt for T.Y. Hilton, half PPR?
You're getting Hunt?
No, you're giving up.
Yeah, no, I'd rather have Kareem Hunt at this point. Kareem Hunt is the best lottery ticket scenario that you could find, because he's playing now. He's playing great now. And if something were to happen to Nick Chubb, he might be the best running back in fantasy. So,
but he's also, I think, a good sell high. Because if Chubb doesn't get hurt, didn't Kareem Hunt have 1 carry going into the fourth quarter?
I think he had 3.
They were,
maybe 3 touches.
This was a game. Yeah, I think it was 3 touches, but this was a game that they won and they were in control and they were salting the game away. What's going to happen? Washington should be good. What's going to happen at Dallas? Colts, Steelers.
Oh, I think those games favor him, because you've seen now 2 examples. They played one of the best teams in football, one of the worst teams in football. How many games are they going to play against one of the worst teams in football? They get the Bengals again. They still have 2 against Pittsburgh. They have 1 more against Baltimore. I think it's week 17, but they have 1 more against Baltimore.
Pittsburgh's week 17.
Week 17. Okay. So the Dallas game, I wouldn't be surprised if they're chasing points.
That's good for him?
Yes.
I know you're saying that because he caught 4 passes against Baltimore, and I agree. But, week 1 was basically an even split in the carries. Week 2, Nick Chubb completely dominated carries until the fourth quarter. So I don't know what to expect from Kareem Hunt in terms of carries. He is going to get more catches in games.
But who was the wide receiver? Was it T.Y. Hilton?
Yeah.
What is he done? He hasn't shown anything.
No, I would keep Hunt too.
Okay, good.
Separate conversation. Yes, he could be the number 1 running back in fantasy if Chubb gets hurt. But if Chubb stays healthy all season long, is now the time to sell Kareem Hunt, or would you just hold him?
If you're selling Kareem Hunt to get a top 15 caliber wide, like if you're selling him to get Cooper Kupp with the hope that he turns things around, if you're selling him to get Terry McLaurin, if you're selling him to get DJ, I'd probably keep Hunt, but I see where you're going with that.
You love DJ Chark.
I do love DJ Chark, but that was with the assumption that he was going to see more targets and this team would be absolutely atrocious, and they're not absolutely atrocious. So if you can turn Kareem, if I'm the Kareem Hunt fantasy manager and the Chris Godwin manager lost a running back, I would make that trade in a heartbeat to get Chris Godwin. That you always want to punch up. So if you have the chance to swing for the fences to get something great for Kareem Hunt, absolutely do it. T.Y. Hilton is not that guy.
All right, more questions here. Curtis Samuel, what's his rushing upside with Christian McCaffrey down? Should we consider that?
I mean, if you're buying into Curtis Samuel with this offense now, probably just leaning on the pass as much as it is, so they're going to go more hurry up, and he could be the guy in the backfield more so than Mike Davis. Sure. But does he have the rushing upside of like a LaVisca Chenault right now of what they're going to do? No. It's just, you're seeing this, there was a lot of talk about who would be the second guy in the passing game. Would it be Robbie Anderson because of the role he was going to play, or Curtis Samuel with the role he's going to play? Clearly through 2 weeks, they're telling you who they like better. And so maybe now they try to force Curtis Samuel into a role because they need him. I could certainly see that happening. But for me, I'm not buying Curtis Samuel. I went down that road. It was a bad road, and I don't want to go down it again.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Like, how would you guys pronounce this name? Seolodolo. Seolo. Seolodolo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. If George Kittle plays, should I start him over Dallas Goedert?
Yes.
Yes.
From Scantron 3, Josh Kelly or another running back on waivers? I don't need a starter. Non-PPR.
You mean to pick up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Josh Kelly. I mean, the fact that they've used him as much as they have through the first 2 weeks of the season, especially in that game against the Chiefs, better days are ahead for him, and this may be a huge week for him against the Panthers. Plus, what happens if Austin Eckler goes down? I mean, then you could be looking at an absolute stud.
Oh my gosh, this trade from Blunto. I traded George Kittle, Julio Jones, and Jonathan Taylor for Dalvin Cook. Grade the trade.
F.
He still has
Negative
Darren
F.
Waller. Like, he still has Darren Waller, Michael Thomas, Chris Carson, and Mostert. But
It's still an
dear
F.
God, yeah, that's an F.
Give me the names again.
Sorry.
Kittle, Julio Jones, and Jonathan Taylor for Dalvin Cook.
Could you make a case right now that Taylor's better than Cook?
I am very close on that, Jamie.
You
I am very
could.
close.
I'm not going to, but you could.
That team is terrible. The Vikings are terrible.
They've been pretty bad, but he still scores all the time, He's their guy.
Yes, he's a great player, but my God, the Vikings are bad.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. Digital 20. Sample or Schultz?
Schultz.
I'm taking Schultz, but I would not be surprised if Sample is better this week.
Kind of a question. Like, imagine 3 weeks ago peering into the future and seeing somebody ask us Sample or Schultz. I would be like, I would have to go to the roster pages and look at who are they talking about.
Well, Schultz, you would know. Dalton Schultz, you knew.
I would know. Yeah.
Drew Sample would be like, he plays for, yeah.
What the? It's so weird, man. All right, from Fittipities. I struggle with your name every time. I should just remember it. Are we at the point where we're comfortable dropping J.K. Dobbins for any of the waiver wire guys?
Again, if you're stuck, you might have to.
Right.
I hope not. I really hope not, because look, we had a fun debate last week at this time in this spot about Malcolm Brown, about Benny Snell, about Nyheim Hines, and all of them looked to be in very good spots. It looked like Brown was the guy for the Rams. It looked like Snell could be the injury replacement and maybe star for the Steelers backfield, and Nyheim Hines was going to catch 1,000 passes for the Colts. And what happened in week 2? James Conner came back. Nyheim Hines was a dud, and Malcolm Brown got hurt and was a dud. We could come out of this week, and Dion Lewis is the best running back for the Giants, and everybody ran to Devonte Freeman. Malcolm Brown and Cam Akers could play, and Darrell Henderson's back being the third guy. Reggie Bonifant could be the guy for the Panthers, and Christian McCaffrey beats the timeline. He's back in 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, there's just a lot of scenarios at play here. So what's the best long-term thing for your roster? It's the guy who could be the guy for the Ravens. So just make sure you don't need these guys. And again, I'll go back to what I said on Tuesday's podcast. Don't overspend for them either. I know, like Dave brought up the scenario of he just lost Barkley and McCaffrey. Yeah. Most people don't have that, but you may have lost one of those guys and a receiver, one of those guys and Le'Veon Bell, Phillip Lindsay, whoever's been hurt and you're stuck. I still think you got to be cautious unless you're 0-2 and you're just, you're desperate to just win 1 week at a time. Yeah. But for now, like, these guys are not going to necessarily be game changers for the rest of the season. At least that's the way I feel about these guys coming into week number 3.
Who has the best chance of being a game changer rest of season? Henderson, yeah. Yep. I mean, maybe McKinnon, if in fact Coleman is done and they decide to just give him those touches, because he's going to be so explosive in those touches. But Mostert, I don't think, is done for the season. So if you're looking at best long-term play, I'd probably go Henderson 1 and then McKinnon 2, probably Freeman 3, just with the hope that he does take over for the Giants. But I do think people are overlooking Myles Gaskin. I mean, I think it's like he's played 80 snaps. The next guy has been like 30, or maybe it's 50. I think it's 50 for Breida and like 30 for Howard. No, Ben reads.
Yeah, it's that bad. The thing that's crazy to me, he's had 56 touches in his last 4 games. He was good at the end of last year. We kind of forgot about it because they signed the 2 running backs.
Yep.
I do like Gaskin.
So I did a radio show in South Florida Tuesday morning with Joe Rose. He's probably the most famous long-term host in South Florida. He's one of the radio voices for the Dolphins. And I brought up Myles Gaskin because we were talking about injury replacements. And he said, you know what? If we had preseason, you would have seen what he was doing because he was just blowing the coaches away with his production. And I think it's like, you go back to it. And I know Jordan Howard's pedigree was not bad. And he had great production with the Bears once upon a time. And he got a good start with the Eagles last year. But these guys were cast-offs. Matt Breida was a cast-off. Jordan Howard was a cast-off. And I know we looked at it and said, okay, they're going to come in and reshape this Dolphins backfield because it made sense. But Gaskin just has done all the right things according to them, and he's playing well. The only thing that's missing from his game is the touchdowns. And if those ever start to come, because Jordan Howard, he's Kalen Balajing his way through the 2020 season at 0.8 yards per carry. It's just unfathomable that he gets 8 carries for 7 yards on a week-to-week basis. Like, he can't even get 2 yards.
You think maybe the Dolphins line has something to do with it now? Well,
why is Gaskin running better? Why is Breida running better?
Yeah,
and he's doing the short yardage stuff, so that stuff always gets out of whack. But I think Gaskin, I didn't do a good enough job for what I'm supposed to do with the waiver wire in hyping him up enough because I didn't think it was legit after 1 week. And here we are 2 weeks later, and he's the best running back for the Dolphins. It's not a great team, but he's getting work.
We had him as a beat the waiver wire on Friday. So if you beat the waiver wire, congratulations. All right, let's see what we got here. Mike Davis or Devonte Freeman waiver wire?
Mike Davis for me. I'd rather take the short-term appeal of what he could be in the Panthers office as opposed to the long-term appeal of what Freeman could be.
Tyler Boyd or Michael Gallop?
Tyler Boyd.
Boyd.
Should I trade Melvin Gordon and Devonte Adams for Derrick Henry? No.
Especially not PPR. Henry has not run well.
He will. It's only week 2.
He got to slow start last year, but they're not opening holes for him right now, and that's a little troubling.
Okay, Yucky Finster is first in waiver order. Should I drop Jamison Crowder, Ronald Jones, or Zach Moss to grab Mike Davis, Josh Kelly, or Julian Edelman? Ooh, interesting. Man, I might drop all 3 for all 3.
Yeah, I think so.
Crowder, Rojo, and Moss for Mike Davis, Josh Kelly, and Edelman.
Look, that's obviously a 10-team league or smaller because if Edelman's on the waiver wire. Kelly you could somewhat understand in some 12-team leagues, but if Edelman's out there, that's a very shallow league. So Crowder's not going to be the run to pick him up is not going to be there.
Yeah, we like Crowder, but I think you gotta like Edelman more. B1653, Matt Ryan or Gardner Minshew this week?
Still Matt Ryan. He's awesome.
Yeah. Should I drop from Naz BK? Should I drop Tom Brady to pick up Gardner Minshew?
I'm cool with it for this week.
I'll tell you what. Brady has not played well through 2 weeks. He had a gimpy Mike Evans against a really good secondary, and they took him away. And then Godwin got concussed in the game. And then he didn't have Godwin in week 2. So we have not seen Tom Brady with his healthy receivers for a full game yet. Will that happen this week? I hope so. Are the people that are getting rid of Tom? We had a question on FFT today. Ben, you might have seen the question. I don't know if you're still facilitating those to the producers or not, but it was, do I drop Tom Brady? This is at least the semblance of a good quarterback in Gardner Minshew. It was, do I drop Tom Brady for, I don't remember who the third one was, but it was Mitchell Trubisky, Phillip Rivers, and the third one was in that same category. Maybe Justin Herbert.
Maybe.
No, it was Justin Herbert. That's where people are with Tom Brady right now. No, don't do that.
But it's also a matchup, right? Because would you start Trubisky's at Atlanta and Rivers has the Jets? You'd still start Brady?
Yes. Again, he's getting Godwin back.
Yeah.
Evans seems healthy. They're going to find a third guy. It may not be consistent, but 1 week it'll be Scotty Miller. 1 week it'll be OJ Howard. 1 week it'll be maybe Gronk. Somebody will help those two guys. There's still a huge ceiling ahead for Brady.
Yeah. All right. Half PPR, Kareem Hunt or Josh Kelly?
Kareem Hunt.
Hunt.
From Cole Johnson, Watkins, Edelman, and Stafford for Fant, Holiday, and White. What?
Holiday.
Yeah, and okay.
Yes, 1,000%.
Holiday side by far.
Yeah. Mike Freeman or Devonte Freeman or Mike Davis, which answer that? Mike Davis is the answer.
I can't wait to text Mike Freeman.
Mike Freeman.
He's a former coworker of ours.
Let's see. Getting some new questions here. By the way, go ahead and hit the follow button, please. Let's get to 5,000 followers. We're very close. Hit that follow button. And we did the Twitter poll that Heath posted. We posted it here on Twitch. Who are you adding if you don't need a starter for week 3? Darrell Henderson, Devonte Freeman, Jerick McKinnon, or Mike Davis. If you don't need a starter for week 3, Devonte Freeman has 36%, Henderson 34%, Mike Davis last 13%, Jerick McKinnon 16%. So Freeman just ahead of Darrell Henderson. Very close, though. From Sucker Coma, would you start Jonnu Smith over a banged-up George Kittle?
Yes.
Kittle's active. I'm not.
The thing is, you got to make that decision Thursday night, though. So you're probably gonna have to make the start, Jonnu.
Right. Wait.
Oh, I'm
No.
sorry.
No.
He just played the Jaguars. He just played the Jaguars. I'm thinking the Jaguars.
Classic Thursday night team, though. The
Yes.
Titans, Jaguars, Dolphins.
Yes.
We got a lot of Kittle questions here, and they're the same ones over and over again. Okay, from Damien. Should I trade James Conner and AJ Green for Amari Cooper and Zach Ertz? Conner and Green for Cooper and Ertz.
If you've got a goose egg at tight end, I'm fine with it.
The only thing is, it's like, giving up these running backs at this point that are getting so much work.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do.
He has Josh Jacobs and Ezekiel Elliott and Gibson and Dobbins and Kelly.
Yeah, I guess if you have that, like this is always the hard thing with these trades. Like we don't know what the context of it is with the rest of their rosters. So yes, you could probably upgrade a tight end, and that's a good thing.
Lamont 87 is just going crazy about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray might crack 1,000 rushing yards.
He might. He absolutely might. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, like 800 seems very attainable. What's he at so far through 2 weeks? 158 rushing yards in 2 weeks. Wow, off to a great.
I don't think, did we talk enough about, you guys might have Sunday night, that the leagues where you get 100-yard bonuses for 100 yards, and the kneel downs that cost them a 100-yard game?
No, oh no, I did not even know who for who.
For Kyler.
In week 2?
In week 1.
I saw him with 91 rushing yards. He lost that many on kneel downs?
I thought somebody was tweeting that at me. He had some kneel downs at the end. I thought he was over.
Lie to you.
I did see 12 people tweeted at us last night. They won on that final drive with Kamara catches, and 15 people lost on the final drive with either Emmanuel Sanders catch or Kamara catches last night.
I went into 2 leagues last night, down 7 in 1 with Will Lutz, who got the field goal and the extra point early. And I'm like, okay, he just needs one more field goal. I'm good. And didn't get it. And then down in a PPR league, down 20 with Darren Waller. And this is, you want to talk about dumb luck. I dropped Carson Wentz midweek to pick up Ryan Tannehill. And then when A.J. Brown was lost, I'm like, okay, I'm playing a really good team. I'll look ahead to week 3. Carson Wentz gets the Bengals. Tannehill, who knows how I was going to look without A.J. Brown in there. So I dropped Tannehill to pick up Carson Wentz. Had I stuck with Tannehill, I would have won easily. And then I needed 20 points from Darren Waller, and he crushed it.
How much fab would you? Yeah, oh, that's pretty good. How much fab would you spend on Devonte Freeman?
10 to 15%.
15 to 20 for me.
By the way, I'm just embarrassed because I fell asleep during the final drive of the game last night. And that's just, that's just weird. That never.
You're wide awake for FFT in 5, though.
I was. I guess I'm good at acting. From Ryway 12, half PPR, Eckler or Josh Kelly?
Eckler.
From the 22, James Robinson or Josh Kelly?
Robinson.
If
Robinson was playing Sunday, he'd be my start of the week.
If Robinson were playing Sunday, okay. Okay, so should I trade away? Mexidorian says, should I trade away Mike? This is the guy who called me ugly. I'm going to give you bad advice. Should I trade away Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Calvin Ridley, or Deontay Johnson? I need a running back, and who should I aim for?
I mean, now's the time to sell high on Deontay Johnson. Going back to receivers, you're starting over T.Y. Hilton and Michael Gallop at this point. That guy's been awesome through the first 2 weeks of the season from a target share perspective. So if you can flip him, given the other guys that you have, who should you go out for from a running back perspective? Fournette probably is something that can,
Gibson range.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to again punch up, see if you can get a little bit higher than Gibson. But
David Johnson off a bad game.
David Johnson off a bad game.
Like, dude, I would take Evans, Godwin, or Ridley, and get the best running back you can get. Make a fair trade, but get a stud running back.
Godwin, you're selling low on, which I never like to do.
Well, I'm saying whoever you can get the best running back for.
I know what you're saying.
Those 3.
But like Ridley is the sell high of the group, aside from Deontay Johnson. But he may do this all year long.
Yeah, no,
Rest of season rankings, Jamey. How do you have those 3 wide receivers?
Oh, Reed be first.
Yeah.
Ridley, Godwin, then Evans.
I mean, I was excited about Ridley. A lot of people are. I'm not going to,
Yeah.
say that anybody's telling you anything different. But, he was a top 10 receiver, so he was ahead of Mike Evans for me. And then, you got Godwin, who still may have a huge ceiling. I don't want to, sell him short. But
You go Godwin too.
I would go Ridley, Godwin, Evans.
Right. Okay. Pat the River Rat. Should I accept a trade? Fournette and Woods. He would get Fournette and Woods for Gurley and CeeDee Lamb in PPR.
Get Fournette and Woods for Gurley in PPR.
I'm doing it.
Lamb. Give
Yeah,
up
you have
Gurley
to.
and Lamb for
You have
Fournette.
to.
You doing it?
Yeah.
Does that mean you like who would you rather have, Gurley or Fournette?
Still Gurley, but I think, the receivers sway it.
Woods blows Lamb out of the water.
C. Bendek. My flex should be Singletary, Ronald Jones, Hunter Henry, or Jamison Crowder.
Singletary.
I mean, if Crowder plays, probably Crowder, but who knows how healthy he's going to be. So yeah, Singletary would be the second best option.
Should I drop Tom Terrific for Gardner Minshew? I also have Ben Roethlisberger.
If you're not playing Ben, then I'd rather
You're probably
hold
playing
on.
Ben this week, right?
I would play Minchu if I had him over Ben, but I think you're fine just sitting on Ben and Brady.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the Texans have done a pretty good job against the 2 greatest quarterbacks in NFL history so far, right?
They played
Mahomes.
Dan Marino and Peyton Manning.
Yeah, they played Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. They've done a pretty good job. So it's possible they have a good secondary. We'll have to see. They get Roethlisberger this week. Tough start to the year. From this is a good question. Amajal, how do you feel about Isaiah Ford leading the Dolphins wide receivers in targets through 2 weeks?
I think it's not sustainable, but it's something to keep an eye on. When they're going to throw the ball as much as they potentially can, given how bad their defense has performed, and now Byron Jones is out. So, we could see them chasing points. They can't run the ball. I don't want to start him, but if I'm in a 14-team league or a 16-team league, or I play in a 20-team league, I'm going to look for Isaiah Ford if I can't find anybody better. We wrote about him in the waiver column today. So he's anytime you see those type of target numbers when there's a guy look, Preston Williams is struggling, coming off an ACL tear. So he's, who knows if there's a recurrence of injury at some point. And Devonte Parker's battling a hamstring injury since training camp. So one of those 2 guys go down, Isaiah Ford's going to be a popular guy.
Kestromel wants to know, what percentage of fab would you use to pick up Gardner Minshew? I currently have Matthew Stafford and Carson Wentz.
I think the thing you got to keep in mind is how many people are going after Gardner Minshew. You're in one of the worst scenarios because of the 2 quarterbacks that you have. But if you think there's going to be somebody else that's going to make a play for him, then probably up to 10%. I wouldn't go crazy for it. Gardner Minshew's played well. Is Gardner Minshew a league-winning fantasy quarterback? I don't know if he falls in that category. So good starter, great schedule coming up, but let's not all of a sudden crown him as a must-start quarterback just yet.
Han Mobile, Tyreek Hill and Corey Davis for Dalvin Cook. Yes.
I like the Cook side.
Just depends, though. I mean, Tyreek Hill's hard to give up.
Yeah, but Corey Davis is a throw-in, right? And everybody was drafting Dalvin Cook ahead of Tyreek Hill.
They were, but things have changed when you look at this Minnesota offense.
But what's changed? I mean, look, the Minnesota offense has run like 20 fewer plays than any team in football. I guarantee you it's going to get better. It's been basically like a worst-case scenario for them. And even still, Dalvin Cook has 3 touchdowns this year.
Have we seen the best of Tyreek Hill yet?
No, but the best of Dalvin Cook is still better than the best of Tyreek Hill.
Is it?
Yeah. Why would you question that?
Is the best of this Dalvin Cook in this offense?
Yeah.
Because last year, the best of Dalvin Cook was by far better than Tyreek Hill.
Yes, I think so. I think he should get more involved in the pass.
It's a fair trade. It's a fair trade. You're right. It's a fair trade.
Okay. Javier, would you trade Deontay Johnson for Alexander Madison if you have Dalvin Cook?
No.
No. We'll do a few more here. Would you start Devonte Parker or Noah Fant at flex PPR?
I start Parker.
Okay, from Teddy. Full PPR, do you trust either David Montgomery or James Robinson as a low-end number 2?
I think both guys are quality number 2 guys. So I would prefer Robinson this week slightly, but Montgomery looks great, and hopefully he keeps up. I got scared when he had that neck injury and left the game last week, so thankfully he's okay.
Yeah, he was one of the ones that came back, thankfully. Mad Lad Max says, I need 3 in a standard scoring league. CeeDee Lamb, Russell Gage, Deontay Johnson, Marvin Jones, Corey Davis. CeeDee Lamb, Russell Gage, Deontay Johnson, Marvin Jones, Corey Davis. It's standard scoring, pick 3.
To roster or for this week, do we know?
This week.
Lamb and Johnson are the easy ones for me. I'd probably go Corey Davis as the 3rd guy in non-PPR.
Okay. Would you rather start Devontae Parker, AJ Green, or AJ Brown PPR? Not expecting AJ Brown, right?
I'd go Parker.
Parker over Green.
Brown, if he plays, I don't expect him to play.
I'll tell you what. I'm really curious to see how CJ Henderson does for a 3rd game in a row, because he made things really uncomfortable for T.Y. Hilton in week 1. And we'll see if it was a big reason, why they were able to contain Corey Davis. I know that sounds funny to say that, but he had a monster game week 1 and didn't do a whole lot in the game in week 2.
Jacksonville cornerback, CJ
Yep.
Henderson.
Where'd he go to school?
I'm guessing he went to the conference that's not even playing yet. Who cares about that?
The best school in the state of Florida.
All right, one more. We'll do a few more. Why one more, huh? Viper 8828. Steven Sims or Christian Kirk rest of season?
Man.
Uh,
Mighty have fallen.
I'll take Kirk.
I'll take Sims.
Sure.
Mike Davis or Devonte Freeman off waivers. We've answered that, but if you're just joining us, we like Mike Davis. Julio for Kenyon, Drake, and Adam Thielen, half PPR. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Oh,
Drake and Thielen. Oh, yeah.
I like it. Montgomery or Chark, PPR?
Shark.
Montgomery.
Jack Parkman, 15. So this came up on Sunday morning show. Frank Stample had no idea who Jack Parkman was. Chris got the movie wrong. Jamey, do you know Jack Parkman?
Jack Parkman is the home run hitter in Major League 2.
Dude, yeah. All right. Chris thought it was going to Major League 1. Come on, Chris. If you're still
Jack
watching.
Parkman was the jerk that they couldn't wait to get rid of.
Yeah, that's right. Tyler Boyd and Jonathan Taylor for Chris Carson and DJ Chark. Who wins? Boyd and Taylor or Carson
The Taylor
and Chark?
side.
The Taylor side?
It's close.
Dude, Ben Trager loves DJ Chark. Loves DJ Chark.
So do I.
do.
I'm frustrated with the way that he's played so far.
Yeah, I think, first of all, it's close because Carson has been great. But yeah, it's the Taylor side. Thank you, Fat Pat the River Rat. We are the best, he says. Really appreciate you and everybody for joining us tonight. And I'll read 3 more questions. David Montgomery or Dallas Goedert, full PPR?
Montgomery.
Watson or Minchu?
Watson.
Minchu.
Half PPR, Leonard Fournette, Kenny Galladay, or Mike Davis?
I hope it's
Galladay if he plays.
I hope it's Galladay.
Okay, I'm content with that. Hey, everybody, thank you so much. We had a great showing tonight. We had a great turnout tonight. We really appreciate it. Hit that follow button. Let's get to 5K. We'd appreciate it. And tell your friends to join us on Twitch, on YouTube, on Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock, Thursday nights, 7 o'clock, Sunday mornings, afternoons at noon Eastern. And we'll talk to you on Thursday. Jamey and Ben Trager, great stuff. Jamey Mazauskas behind the scenes, appreciate you. And this was a lot of fun. Good luck on your waiver wire, everybody. We'll talk to you on the podcast tomorrow morning.